Hello, friends, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into an absolutely amazing, completely true story from the Bible today. It's all about a fiery furnace. So go ahead and turn on those listening brains because this one is incredibly exciting. Let's get into it.
But real quick, before we start the story, I want you to think about something. Have you ever seen God's great power? Just think about it for a second. When you wake up and see that big, bright, warm sun high up in the sky, or, when you look up at night and see all those tiny, twinkling stars, well, that's us seeing God's incredible power. Our God is just so big and so strong, and the story we're looking at today shows us just how truly powerful he is.
Section 1, King Nebuchadnezzar's Golden Statue.
So, King Nebuchadnezzar was this super powerful ruler, but he had a really big problem. He didn't worship the one true God, which gets a huge thumbs down from us. Instead of loving God, he actually decided to build a giant statue out of shiny, sparkly gold. Just to give you an idea of how big this thing was, think about a regular house, maybe a lot like the one you live in. While this golden statue was 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide, that's way, way taller than your house. You'd literally have to bend your neck all the way back just to see the very top of its head.
And then, the king made a really strict rule for everyone in the whole land. He basically said, whenever you hear the music play, you must bow down and worship my shiny golden statue. Oh my goodness. He wanted everybody to treat his statue like it was God. But as we know from the Bible, we shouldn't worship anything or anyone except the one true God, right? So doing what the king said and bowing to a statue would be going against God, and that's a sin.
Section 2, 3 Brave Friends. Now, living in this king's land were 3 very brave friends who loved God with all their hearts. They knew God's rules, and they always wanted to obey him, no matter what happened. And they have the most fun names. Let's actually practice saying them out loud together, okay? Ready? Number 1 is Shadrach. Number 2 is Meshach. And number 3 is Abednego. Great job! Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were so brave, and they completely trusted in God's power to protect them.
So the really loud music starts playing, right? And everybody else in the whole kingdom falls right down to the ground to worship that big golden statue. But what about our 3 brave friends? What do you think they did? Did they bow down? Tell me out loud.
No, they absolutely did not bow down. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stood up perfectly tall. They looked right at the king and told him that they would only ever worship the one true God. They knew bowing to that statue was a sin. Wow, they were just so incredibly courageous.
Section 3, Into the Hot Fire.
Well, as you can probably guess, when King Nebuchadnezzar heard that these 3 friends completely refused his order, he was so mad. He threatened them and ordered his guards to throw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego right into a blazing fiery furnace as a punishment. And friends, this wasn't just a cozy little campfire. This was super, super hot. The flames were roaring and glowing this bright, scary orange and red. It was incredibly dangerous. Honestly, the furnace was so hot that nobody could even get close to it without getting hurt. But because they completely trusted in God's power, our 3 friends still stood strong.
Section 4, A Miracle in the Fire. The guards threw the 3 friends right into the middle of those roaring flames. Oh no! But then King Nebuchadnezzar started watching very closely. He looked right into that bright fire, and he literally could not believe his eyes. Hey, can you count with me for a second? The king counted the people he saw walking around inside. Ready? 1, 2, 3. But wait a minute. He only threw 3 men in there, right? Let's count again and see what happens next.
4. The king saw 4 people walking around inside that fiery furnace. Now, how in the world could that be? Well, it's because God sent a 4th person straight from heaven to protect the 3 friends. God's great power was right there inside the fire with them.
And because of that, they were 100% safe. The fire didn't hurt them even a little bit. They were completely unharmed. Now, could that golden statue have kept them safe? No way. Only God could do that. It just goes to show that the king's giant statue was totally weak, but the one true God's power is absolute and perfect. Section 5, Trusting God's Great Power. When King Nebuchadnezzar saw this amazing miracle with his own eyes, he ordered Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to come out of the fire. And guess what? He actually praised their God.
He finally realized that there is no other God who is truly powerful like that. He even rewarded the friends because they trusted God, and God delivered them. And this brings us perfectly to a very special memory verse from the Bible. It's Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight." And that's exactly what our three friends did when they faced that fiery furnace. To help us really remember this verse, let's do some fun hand motions together. Go ahead and stand up on your feet for this one. Okay, for step 1, say, "Trust in the Lord," and point your finger high up to the sky. Awesome. Now for step 2, say, "With all your heart," and put both of your hands right over your heart. Perfect. And for step 3, say, "He will make your paths straight," and push your open hands straight out in front of you like you're making a path. Let's do the whole thing together. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and he will make your path straight. You guys are doing amazing. The biggest thing to remember here is that God's power is everywhere. We can always trust in his power, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did. Even when things feel a little scary, or when we have to make a really tough choice to do the right thing, we can feel completely peaceful because we know God is right there with us. His power is in the sunshine, the stars at night, and right there in your everyday life. So I have one final question to leave you with today. Will you look for God's great power today? I want you to put on your imaginary detective glasses and look all around your house, your yard, or maybe even your school, and see if you can spot all the amazing things God does every single day. I bet you're going to see his power absolutely everywhere you look. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, friends. Until next time, keep trusting God and have a wonderfully powerful day.